Right on, guys. Good morning. Pro here at VIP Outdoors. We're on the Willamette River today. It has been a slow year for us here on the Columbia and the Willamette. But as I tell everybody, you just got to get out and do it, because when it goes, it goes. But I will say I'm a little bit jealous. I've been seeing some social media pictures on Drano and Wind River, and guys are catching fish up there. So I know fish are going over the dam. Those are guys that are having some success. But we're going to stay close to home today and see what we can do. And you know, the lack of boats here is a telltale sign of how tough the fishing's been. But again, it takes any day, and you will, if you're waiting for the internet report to tell you when fishing's good, you're gonna miss it. So get out there and get fishing. Okay, let's go down there, Dave. Okay, let's get a couple rods here.
How warm you got, bro?
What's that?
How warm you got?
55.5. It's still hovering right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not skyrocketing on us. Good temp, good temp. This is always that. There's always kind of that tricky transition stage to where, you know, when are they going to go from that herring bite to the egg bite to the spinner shrimp bite? You know, and I think right now a guy could really do anything, and not that fishing has been great, but have success in any one of those, you know?
Yeah.
You kind of pick your poison. Yakima spin fish on this guy.
What do you want me to do here, bro?
You want to grab those, that one right there might goes up on the bow.
Okay.
The one with the chartreuse.
Did we even see a boat on the way down?
I didn't.
Well, everyone, you know, they've been coming and putting out effort and not getting them, and they're like, I ain't gonna go out on a day that's raining.
Yeah.
I know it crossed my mind.
It holds enough.
Good.
These split out, like, but with all coonies, sometimes that top shell, you know.
No, that's perfect. I dig it. I dig it. That's totally different than the way I do mine. But all effective, man. Especially, you know, you're not, I think with that rubber band, it helps keep that helmet closed, but it's not like we have a lot of water, you know what I mean? Yeah. Creating a bunch of pressure. So that's a good way to do it with no rubber band.
So these little coon shrimp, you can do them so many different ways. A lot of guys used to like to go on the inside with the double hooks. You can use a rubber band also. I've just found the way I do it, like I said, so many different ways. But just to stick it in the thick of that meat in there, put it right out the top. So your hook's sitting like that, and then your top one right in the thick of that meat right there. It usually holds it when there's not a lot of current or real flat like it is today. With that spinner blade right over the top. You sit in there and that will just spin a little bit with that blade. Especially when, obviously we're using a 360, so that'll throw it around.
Ah, come on, Jack. Let's get him today, buddy. We gotta get him, man. We gotta get him. Yeah, if you look at, so we got a 16 ouncer on that rod holder, or on that rod there, and that same 9.5 foot rod, I believe we have the same length of bumper. Look how fast that's bobbing in comparison to the 12 ouncer. So, you know, when guys always ask me, you know, like how much lead? Well, it varies. It varies in how much action those fish want, and you just don't know until you start fishing. So if you want less action, use less weight, longer bumper, longer rod. You want more action, shorter rod, shorter bumper, heavier weight.
Hold on. Get it, Jack. No, I don't mind. Ready?
What a weenie fish. You ain't done that like you got a pair.
What is that? It's like on there.
It's swimming with it.
It's got it.
Let's reel that one in while that one's in the rod holder. Let's clear the other rods. He's gonna be on the surface. I think he hasn't figured out that he's hooked yet, honestly.
What's a jacksalmon or something?
I don't know, but that thing should be buried a lot harder than that.
It's not trolling, so it's got fish on it.
It's got a fish on it. Grab that, Jack. Don't grab it, buddy. I heard it whack, did it?
Got a few on it.
Got him?
Yeah.
All right, man, here we go. Now you tugging a little bit?
Yeah. Keep real, Jack. Keep real.
Well, we let him eat it long enough, that's for dang sure. That's a Sammy. Pull him out sideways there for me. Yes! We're on here. Keep on working here, Jack. Up in the sky, buddy, up in the sky. I don't know that he's a full-size model, but beggars can't be choosers right now, huh, buddy?
It's typical.
Yeah, it's a trophy. Well, so you gotta go back. I don't know, Mike, that looked like a misclip. I got a scar right there. That's the...
No, that's not.
That's not a misclip.
I wouldn't call it a misclip, but that's maybe a pro. Yeah, it's
Stupid fish. We got one though.
You did.
And it wasn't very big. That wasn't one of those real ones. Wasn't one of those real ones. I can hear the heartbreak in Jack's voice though about having to let a fish go. How, buddy?
Nobody asked my opinion if that was a misclip or not.
There's a reason for that. Sweet. Well, guys, we're on the board. We're on the board. All right, here we go, back at it. Jack's like, yeah, whatever. I don't care anymore. All right, let's drop those.
It's different, but to me, a misclip is usually it's like pointed or something. It's not round on the top.
Oh.
So yeah. I used to have a diagram. I might still have the diagram because it shows some misclips still having a flag.
And a nice round bottom like that.
Yeah, as long as there shows scarring on top. That was a tough one, man.
I know. And then I think the worst part of that is what officer checks you.
Sure. Right, what?
That was a weird fight.
Yeah.
Lazy bite.
Wasn't a real big fish.
No, that's why I said he's a miniature model.
Willamette Springer.
Yeah, but that was not a real one. We're gonna get a real Willamette Springer here. Yeah, so right on, guys. So we got that last fish on this, that last Springer on the spin fish here made by Yakima. What we do is just take one of our pre-tied leaders. This one in particular is double 3/0 stacked on top of each other on 30 pound. One of our 6mm glow beads, a 5mm pink bead, and then that Yakima spin fish. And this one we actually stuffed with a shrimp. And did the ticket last time, but this hands down, this pattern of spin fish, my buddy Tom introduced it to me last summer, and man, it is just a killer on multiple fisheries. So check that guy out right there.
And I can get this thing in neutral, and that's the throttle, and
this is neutral right here.
Okay,
this is my kicker handle right here.
got it.
I usually, like on that one, like I just keep it slightly engaged until it gets close to the boat, because keeping the boat engaged is like a double-edged sword. You got to know when to have it engaged and when not to, and especially like inexperienced fishermen like Jack.
That's not nice.
That's hilarious. But like, no, seriously though, like Jack knows what he's doing, but if you get like somebody who's a novice in fishing, or you get a kid, I always keep that boat engaged so it keeps it tight, especially while we're clearing other rods. Because if you know, when you're clearing other rods, you're not paying attention and you can't help whoever is reeling that fish in, right? And so if you keep that boat engaged, it allows them to maybe make some errors, and if they accidentally stop reeling when they got to adjust or something like that, or if that fish runs at them, there's consistent pressure created by the boat. But the challenge with that is after that fish gets towards the boat, because you're dragging it, just like everything, it wants to go to the center, right? It just creates pressure physics, right? So you're dragging something and it wants to come center of whatever's dragging it. So you create that pressure, and once it gets close to the boat, that fish is going to want to gravitate back towards your motors. So that's when you got to back off the throttle and put it in neutral. Did you notice that, Jack? Like as you were reeling it closer, it started to swing this way and you were pulling it away. Well, that's when I usually kind of kick the boat out sideways and put it in neutral so the fish is out in front of you. But you know, when you got guys with the guys and gals that fish all the time, that's one thing. But when you got somebody brand new, helping keeping that tension on with the boat and knowing when to come off is a big deal. Right on, guys. So at this time of year, again, we're here at the end of April and we're beginning of May, and what's happening here on the Willamette is we're seeing that flow start to dissipate because the Columbia River starts to back up. They start releasing water out of Bonneville, and it rises that Columbia River and doesn't allow the Willamette River to drain. And so there's always this transition period that's kind of goofy. When I say goofy, there's just a lot of different options out there in how you can fish for these and where you fish for salmon on the Willamette River. So you can fish for them in shallow water, kind of on little ledges and flats. You can fish them suspended the way we are today and just kind of deep water, staggering the rods at different depths. I think we have, I think I got 25 up there, like 30 in the middle and then 37 in the back or something like that. But he's staggering them just based on where I'm seeing fish there and covering all the columns. But in that also, and having that variety, trolling different presentations is really the only way you're going to be able to determine what those fish are gravitating to for that day, or even sometimes even a period. I mean, you'll see fish gravitate to a hard stuffer bait, and then they'll gravitate to a spinner throughout the day. And so what we want to do is we want to cover that variety and make sure we have the as much presentation out there as possible to figure out what those fish want. That's one of the nice things about the Willamette River is that you get the 2-rod endorsement, and you could have multiple rods out checking out what you'd like to fish. So I have obviously some prawn spinners out, shrimp spinners out. We got a stuffer back there in that Yakima spinfish, and we're gonna go with this is a regular Brad's super bait here. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take one of our pre-tied leaders. Again, for these Willamettes, I like 30-pound and 3/0, because on those springers, like that last fish we caught, sometimes they're just not a very big fish. And so you get an 8-pound fish and you go with 4/0, and sometimes those hooks are just a little bit too big. So this one right here in particular are 3/0, again 30-pound. We tie all of ours with the noosh knot, so that bottom hook is replaceable. So if you want to put a treble on there, that's fine as well. But the biggest part is when you have a noosh knot in there, or you have 2 lines there, this section of line is now tied twice as strong as if in comparison to tying 2 egg loops, 1 to each hook. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of our micro tubing. Okay, I'm going to use a clear one here. Go through our micro tubing, and then with these original super baits, you can either use a 6mm bead or 8mm bead to stop it underneath there. So I'm going to go with a 6mm glow bead on top of my micro tubing. Oops. I'm waiting for us to run over a fish, Jack, and then I'm going to scatter this tackle all in the water and it's game over. Alright. Now what I'm going to do is take my leader, go up the back of the the super bait underneath here. This is always a challenging part with super baits, is getting it to come out of that nose. You got to mess with it a little bit. There it comes. Perfect right there. And here's what's really nice about that micro tubing. Look at that setup right there, where you have the tail comes right down to the end of the knot there. But what's really nice is now this is pretty well weightless. So when it rotates through the water, it rotates around the axis of the line in comparison to stacking a bunch of beads right here. What happens when you do that, as it spins through the water, the weight of the beads and the hooks and everything come away from the super bait, and you're trolling like this. We want everything trolling like this for the best potential hookup ratio. I'm gonna go 31 inches on this leader here, stuff it with some shrimp, and then put I'm gonna try a little bit of bloody tuna in here as well, some bloody tuna from Procure. Generally speaking, historically speaking, excuse me, around this time frame, that bloody tuna works really, really well. So let's get this put on one of these rods. Yeah, so look at that spin. See how that super bait rotates right around the shank of those hooks there, and that nose stays perfectly still. Then you don't have that, your hooks forking away from your super bait. Alrighty, so again, we're out here using 360s on the Willamette River for springers here. For those of you who are new maybe to some of this pro trolling, I know we've been doing it for a while, but this is our general setup here. We got our 65-pound braid. This is our line lock right here. Okay, we brought that to the market, shoot, about almost 8-9 years ago. We got a lead on there attached to that, 6-speed chain swivel. The importance of our line lock is the backside, how it's grooved in. What happens is this rotates, it locks into the back of the line lock there. The importance there is that as all your gear rotates, it does not allow the transfer of line twist to go from here up your braided line. Okay? 6-speed chain swivel. This right here is one of our 24-inch 18-inch or 80-pound crimp bumpers. We have them in 18 and 30 as well. Come down to a 360 of your choice. And then we have our leaders here, and this leader is one of our pre-ties on 30-pound 2/aught red hooks, Gamakatsu beads. This is our 3.5 blade here, a gold pink tip, and here is the way I hook my shrimp on there. So I will take my top hook, I'll come down through the top of the spine and come out the back just like so. And then I take my rubber band, I go around the top of the hook and the helmet of the shrimp just like that. And that keeps the hook in place, keeps it nice and tight. Okay, a lot of different configurations, a lot of ways to do it. I think Mike showed you guys a different way how he does it as well. Again, lots of different ways to skin a cat. This is just one of the options that I have a tendency to gravitate towards. Right on, guys. Well, we just wanted to come out for a quick morning. We got about 4 hours of fishing in this morning. And again, it just been kind of a slow year. So on these slower years, you gotta feel fortunate to be able to even get one the way we did. And now we're gonna go about our day. But that's the beauty about this Willamette River fishery, is a guy could just come down here in his boat, put in a few hours, whether you want to fish the tide or just get out of the house for a little bit, and then put it back on the trailer, head home, and get things done. So that's what we're going to do here. But anyways, check it all out. Hopefully that information helped with the spin fish and the super baits and the prawn spinners, and check out all the information we have there, all the products we have, and just kind of help make your life easier. But thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button.